Do what your heart feels and do what you want because you already know it.
Every day, you have the decision to be who you want to be if you make that decision to move forward. You can be whoever you want to be, and you can decide it whenever you want to decide it. Just make it happen.
My name is Rubio.
And I'm Anthony Rubio, and we are executive business directors and equity owners of Our Infinite Company.
Anthony and I met in the financial industry, and we got together while in the financial industry. So he and I have strengths built since the beginning. But when he and I came together and we became a partner and and then we got married, I have weaknesses that are his strengths and his weaknesses are mine. So I know he has this thing about the word balance, but in this case, our weaknesses and our strengths, we really do balance each other. We really are. When I say home team, hashtag home team, it truly is a home team because it's kind of like a tag or pass the baton, you know? Someone has to run it, someone has to finish it, and that's what we are. We're an opener, we're a closer, we're both on the field, but we utilize each other's strengths and weaknesses.
I really got to say we're blessed, and not very many people can say that, whether not even in their own business, but their careers or anything. As a matter of fact, a lot of times careers, it's almost frowned upon, you know, to have spouses and family and things working together. But with what we do in our industry in OIC, we have not only me and my wife, but we have our family working together, and we utilize our strengths to get to where we need to be. So,
his weakness before was to initiate the contact, the first approach to contact. And he used to talk about that was his weakness. But along the way, I feel that became one of his strengths. And I think that because of the partnership that we have in business and working together, he found his comfortability to use that weakness and become really strong at it. I'm really proud of this guy.
That's my wife. Living what you say, having the integrity, having the character, living out the habits, but you're doing it together as a couple. And the reason I say that is because everybody can achieve what they want individually, but to, you know, not saying that we're perfect, but you do practice what you preach. You do live out the habits. You do have the character, and you do it together as a couple.
Gosh, you know, a power couple can mean so many things. To me, giving back respect, it's always more about giving than what's receiving. It's doing a positive impact together, never arguing about the recognition. We know that we're one, that we work together as a unit. We're a partnership. We're team members. We're husband and wife first. We put God first. It's just being a role model to other couples to know that there is opportunity for them to be great together.
Well, who do I look up the most? Is my dad. It's a pretty simple, and the reason I say that is because he decided to be this kind of a man, a family man, he's the best father that I know, always supportive. He's always wanted the best out of us. His life was never, and I'm not saying his life was never that, but he's not the man the way that he grew up. He's the man that he decided to be. And the husband, the spouse, the faith-driven person. And so the reason that I have the life that I have is because he gave me that opportunity. You know, he allowed to give us a life that we lived because he decided to be the man who he is. And so when you look at who's like my hero, and I know it's kind of cliche, but to be honest with you, it is my dad.
The person that I look up to most is, well, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that I look up to. I mean, it really depends on what I'm looking for, you know. I mean, it's so many, because then whenever I think about women's strength, I do think of Beyonce. You know, I love her and her husband, Jay-Z. I love how they partner up together and how they're such a power couple. You know, I look up to my parents. I look up to my sisters for different things. But then The person I look up to is somebody that I love, someone that I trust, someone that I confide in, someone that I could reach out to, be myself 100% would be my husband. Because that could be me. And there's no judging zone, there's no judge zone here. So I do look up to my husband, Anthony Rubio.
Man, boy, I got man, damn.
So, yeah.
I was introduced into the industry almost 14 years ago, and I was in construction, and so I wanted to switch over to financial because, to me, I moved up the ladder. I was doing very well, but I just knew I could do more. I knew I wanted to do more. One of my very first presentations was with my parents, and so being in Hispanic culture, we don't talk about money. That's not something that we really talk about. You know, parents are parents, kids are kids, and they take care of their responsibilities. We just live, right? You know, and just enjoy life. And so I never forget, I said, hey, look, I'm going through some training. I really need your help. Can you just take a look? I'm going to do a presentation with my trainer. And just because I'm wanting to switch from construction into financial services. And when I sat down with my parents was the first time I saw how that if this could happen to my parents, I can only imagine who else it could be happening to, where you live your life thinking you're doing something good, but you're not on the right path. And so to me, that was really, and like I said, it happened very early in the stage of my career. And that's why I feel I'm at where I'm at today, because I always go with that mindset that if it can happen to somebody as close as my parents, I can only imagine how many other people is getting affected by that.
Well, he talks about other people being affected, but for me, I was affected. I was the one that was getting affected. I felt like struggling was normal. And then I realized that I was going down the wrong path when I was the one that used to worry about paying my bills, when I used to worry about my electricity getting cut off, whether I'll have enough money to feed my kids. I went through that. You know, in reality, people are talking about it, and people are going through it right now. And the things that we've been talking about, our mission and everything, right now with all the pandemic going on, a continuous pandemic still going on, our mission is even twice as important now than it is before. So I stayed because when I was a teacher, I was still struggling. When I wanted to be at the convention, when I wanted to be with the team, when I wanted to be at appointments, and my heart was already set. My heart was set with the financial industry, something that I knew absolutely nothing about, but it mattered when I knew that the people I was around made a big difference. So it was the first time in my life to be around driven and positive people that made me want to do better for myself. A lot of couples actually ask me questions about us working together. And I think that when I respond to nothing but positivity and excitement and, you know, telling people how wonderful it is to actually work with my husband, that itself draws in the attraction to want to know more. And then from there, especially with couples, I always say, you know what, I'd love for my husband and I to meet with you and your husband or you and your wife. And just from there, it happens. So usually it's just our story. Like, a lot of people see us on social media. A lot of people always ask us, wow, you know, you guys look sharp. What do you do? So it's easy when you're presentable, and we meet clients from all aspects, from referrals and people that we don't know directly, but we build such a great relationship with them that, I mean, they even wish us happy anniversary every holiday. They call us just to tell us that they're thinking about us and how much they love us. They invite us to their birthday parties, their weddings, their baptismals, baby dedications, just everything. So that's what we're really thankful for.
When you talk about like the happiest moments, because most of the time when we sit down, we talk to them, they don't have a good understanding about financial, right? And then, so what happens is it's really like a part where we have to share with them what we do, how it works, and then when they start understanding, then they get the products, and then it's just like it's a whole different renewal of how they feel from when what they thought everything was to what they really have. And so it really goes to a point where they really are happy with what they have, because they just never thought that something like this that we're offering them can really be offered just to us, right? To like the what we can say, like the working class, right? You know, you get so many phone calls, and like Rain was saying, is they a lot of them are family. We become family because, you know, whatever, you know, with the relationships that we have. But I mean, it's just a long lasting relationship that it's a whole lot further than just doing a solution or a product, you know. So that's what it keeps us going.
I think that the things that we do is something very special, because the solutions that we provide for families prevents families to ever have to go through uncomfortable sacrifices like GoFundMe accounts, or asking for money, or not having enough money to even get a tombstone. Or in one case, I even had a family that they couldn't afford making payments on a plot that a coffin was actually removed from the ground and misplaced. And these are stories that I hear, and these are people who never had a solution, and that just pushes me. So when people don't really understand the reason why I reach out to them and why I talk to them, I'm giving them an opportunity to protect their family from ever going through that hardship if they're not there, because I've seen it happen. So it's always, you know, I don't share that with my clients or my friends and my family, but there's just so much that we've heard, so much that we know, and so much that we've met with family and friends, that something happened. And it's always that what if I should have or I could have. I mean, so many aspects of it, because, you know, I always thought that my first claim would be someone who's older, you know, like an older client. And, you know, our first delivery was actually with one of our other directors, and he was a 19-year-old. And then the second delivery is actually during the holidays, which it's never easy with a good friend of ours. And it's just kind of those moments when we continue to lose loved ones and friends, and we always wish that we could have done something. Again, it comes back to, if we just did our job or pushed a little bit harder, we could have protected that family where they would never have to go through a financial burden. No. And it boils down to that. So it's always the what ifs, and it's always that claim. It's always that first phone call. And it's heartbreaking. And we think about it all the time. I think about it all the time. And I still think that no matter what, up until today, when I do, I'm surprised I'm not crying right now, but I probably will later.
Yeah, the most heartbreaking moment is, to me, is the would have, should have, what could I've done, mm-hmm. And you get a phone call or you get something that somebody passed away, and we talked to them but didn't push all the way. You know, it wasn't aggressive enough, or whatever phrase you want to put it. And you didn't do your job. Mm-hmm. And that feeling of, man, what if I would have called? What if I would have just done this? What if I would have said one more? What if? And you will never be able to get that opportunity back again with that one. That's I had somebody that, you know, very close to us, close to the family, that I just received a phone call yesterday, that passed away in a car wreck. And so the reason that it hit so tragic was because the day before, here in Fort Worth, we had probably one of the most tragic accident that we've seen, that I probably have ever seen here, that happened, where we had like 133 car pile up, assuming 6 people had passed away, and so many were injured, or whatever the case may be. And it brought back a lot of memories, because it was early in the morning, and in that accident, I saw some work trucks. And in that area, when I was in construction, I did a lot of work out there. So I'm grateful, because during everything, that was some of the routes that I would take, and what if. Then I remember growing up, my dad worked in the highway department, and so he would get calls when things like this would happen, and he had to go out to take care of accidents because he worked for the highway. And so as a child, I could always remember him leaving late at night, and it was crushing to me because I was thinking, man, what about my dad never comes back, right? And then all of a sudden the next day I get a phone call and tell me this certain person passed away, and it's family, and it's somebody that it's only a person a year older than me, so dies in an accident, and she was she was a first responder, right? She's a nurse. Years ago, I remember sitting with her, sharing what it is that I do, and to me, I take it very personal because it's these missed opportunities are just things that we always go through it's not about me, it's about the family, but because I'm so involved with it, because I put our business and what we do so involved, that it's just, what if I called, what if I messaged, what if, and so that opportunity will never happen again with this person. And so those are the things that we go through, and it's just always a constant reminder that we just always got to keep on talking, even if they don't understand, even if it's not their time. You just never let go, because what if?
With everything that you both shared, your ups and downs, client experiences, the what ifs, what is one advice that you would give to your kids, a best friend, a stranger, or your younger self?
That's funny because I talked to my kids yesterday and I asked them, I know I gave you many advices because my kids are older, they're already graduated from high school, and I asked them, what's one advice that I've given to you that stuck with you? And one thing that they both told me is, do what your heart feels and do what you want because you already know it. So pretty much not to doubt yourself. Not to doubt yourself. For a stranger, I would tell them you are 100% responsible for your own life. For my friends, I would tell them, be honest, even though it hurts. As far as financial, you better save. You better save. You better be financial literate. No one ever approached you like no one ever approached me before. Let me be the one to help you. I think for my younger self, one advice that I probably wish that someone told me, or I would tell myself, is to surround yourself with positive people. That could have made a big difference in my life. Less headache for my parents. Sorry, Mom.
Just do what you love, and not worry about what people think, because it's kind of like the saying is damn if you do, damn if you don't, right? And so most times we live a life trying to please others, but we're miserable ourselves. That was one of the biggest things. You asked, what would I share with my younger self? Don't let the past define you, and you're never going to be the past will never make you who you are or define who you're going to be. Every day you have the decision to be who you want to be if you make that decision and move forward, right? Because I listened so many times that people always blame their past, why they're not where they're at today. And I'm going to tell you who I've surrounded myself with and things that I've learned is, you're not. You can be whoever you want to be, and you can decide it whenever you want to decide it. Just make it happen. When you take full responsibility of your actions, you literally have the life in your hands. And so to me, the reason I say that is because I've heard a lot of these sayings, quotes, and all that great stuff. But when you actually apply it, when you actually apply everything that you've learned, just be a better self. I mean, to me, from where we were to where we're at to where we want to be, it's because we're just outdoing everything that we're doing. We're outdoing ourselves. It's not a comparison game. That was probably one of the biggest things I had to change, was about comparing us to other people, because we wanted to have those things. I grew up so much worried about other people, and not so much about other people, but what other people thought. And in reality I was never able to be who I really was. And that's some of the things that I would definitely give advice to anybody, but to my kids, to my younger self, never lose that moment,
The best advice that I ever received was always to make sure that I live a life of service to always be remembered for the things I did for others.
The past doesn't define you, nor does it make you who you are. And that every day you can really be who you want to be. And you can decide today and be that person for the rest of your life. So that was just epic when I realized that, because I decided at that point, I just felt that I could just be who I wanted to be, no matter what I've done before.